Hello, my name is Richard Dougherty. I'm the Gallaudet University architect. Gallaudet University has been incredibly creative with the concept of DeafSpace since 2005, with the development of DeafSpace design principles. There are over 150 of those principles developed in consultation with the deaf community to ensure accessible and inclusive spaces for deaf and hard of hearing people. What is interesting is that the concept of deaf space has been around for many years. It is an old idea. In fact, since 1864, Gallaudet University has always been looking at and adjusting their buildings to suit the linguistic, cognitive, and social needs of their occupants. An example of this is a beautiful old classroom with wooden, curved, tiered seating to ensure good lines of sight. And this was in 1890, a beautiful example of deaf space that goes back many years. You can see it in this picture. Moving now to the present day, the DeafSpace project that Gallaudet has undertaken since 2005 has produced some beautiful work in line with those 150 DeafSpace principles. They prioritize human interaction. Examples of these design principles include visibility and good lines of sight, open spaces with smaller workspaces, minimizing visual clutter and background distraction, and a very keen emphasis on good quality light and use of color. Also, good spatial navigation. These are all original design principles for DeafSpace. Please consider this example. To me, honestly, DeafSpace cannot exist without people. It just can't. For me, it is the people that create the space rather than the building. My DeafSpace philosophy is really about supporting human interaction and language vibrancy. I feel like in today's world, we've lost that. Today, with the improvements in technology, people are heads down, glued to screens. And we need to create spaces that force us to be human again, to make eye contact, to communicate, to embrace. Interestingly, recently I worked on a project based in Germany. It was a hearing client from a theatre company that reached out to us and wanted to establish a pop-up festival there in Germany that would last for 6 weeks. And we gladly accepted the project. They wanted to use DeafSpace design principles because they believe these principles really are human-centric. And we were really excited about it. We generated all these ideas for this DeafSpace. As an example, they had many outdoor lamp posts. So there was natural light there already, but we wanted to do something extra. So we placed holders on those lampposts so that when people met there, if they were holding things like coffee cups and bags and laptops and phones, they could place them on the holders around the lamppost and communicate. Simple ideas like that. There was also an outdoor circular pavilion that people could gather under and take shelter from the rain, for example. And lots of people met under the pavilion. They loved being able to see in and out easily, but we also provided some privacy screens. You can see it in this picture. For me, that project shows me that the architecture of deaf spaces doesn't need to be permanent, like many of the old buildings at Gallaudet, which are so beautiful. But deaf spaces can be temporary too. For example, we create temporary deaf spaces at the Deaflympic Games and other events like that. Really, our end goal with deaf spaces should be to have a new approach to human-centric design, to make people come together, to bring people together. And we've lost that to some degree. We really need to focus on improving the quality of life for all people. regardless of their cognitive, physical, and perceptual abilities. Thank you for watching. Bye.